Hello, and welcome back to Spittin Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I'm coming at you from the 256. Today is Tuesday, so you know that means NFL recap. So let's go ahead and get to talking about those games. So Thursday night started with Broncos and Cardinals. You might not have expected that score, but I expected the Broncos to win relatively easy. The Cardinals' offense is nearly non-existent, it seems like. But the Broncos just absolutely swamped the Cardinals' offense. They had 2 pick-six touchdowns in the first quarter, first half. It was just an all-around beatdown. Excuse me. Emmanuel Sanders had 2 touchdowns on his first 2 touches of the ball. One was a touchdown pass, and he ended up catching one on his second. On his first catch of the game was a touchdown, and of course, like I said, that wide receiver pass. But the Broncos just absolutely run the Cardinals out of their own stadium, 45-10 on Thursday night, this past Thursday. Sunday, the London game, early kickoff time was 8:30 a.m. Central Time. You had the Titans taking on the Chargers in London. The Chargers dominated the first half. It was 10-6 at halftime, but the Chargers scored on the first play of the game. But the Titans really fought back in the second half, and they had a chance to tie and try to go to overtime, but they decided to go for 2. And obviously did not get that and lost the chance to possibly stay in the lead in the AFC South. But they fell to 3-4. They lost to the Chargers 20-19 was the final score there. Chargers, still their only 2 losses are to 2 of the best teams in the game, probably the 2 best teams in the game currently, in Kansas City and the Rams. Those are the Chargers' 2 losses. They're now 5-2. They're looking really good right now. Phillip Rivers, he's playing phenomenally so far this season. Next, you had the Patriots and the Bears. The Bears try to throw the ball too much. Obviously, they got behind and had to start throwing it, but they try to throw too much to begin with. They were throwing it. They were throwing the ball a ton when it was still a game, and Trubisky, he ended up completing over 50%, but at one time he was like 13 of 31 or something like that. It was crazy. They tried to throw the ball too much in the end, and then obviously the Patriots, they ended up winning 38-31. 2 special teams touchdowns for the Patriots on Sunday. That dropped the Bears to 3-3 overall, and put the Patriots at 5-2. The Patriots, they got a win outside their home building, so they look like they're back to being the Patriots at this point. Next, you had the Bills and the Colts. I said the Colts were going to win, and that's what they ended up doing. They ended up doing big time. Andrew Luck, he didn't even pass 200 yards in this game, but he had 4 touchdowns, so it really didn't matter. Odd score for the Bills, they had 5 points. The final was 37-5. Marlon Mack, he's finally back from injury for the Colts, and he went off on Sunday. And just the Colts at home, they got their second win of the season. They improved to 2-5, and the Bills fall to 2-5. So, I mean, and the Colts still have a chance in that division that they're in if they make a run. But Colts, they get the job done over the Bills, 37-5. Next one, I thought the Dolphins would be able to pull it out at home. They obviously didn't. Kerryon Johnson had himself a day for the Lions. But the Lions jumped out 17-7 at half, never looked back. The final score ended up being 32-21 Lions. They're now 500. They're back to 500. They're 3-3 now. The Dolphins are 4-3. But big win on the road for the Lions. Kerryon Johnson, he has established himself as the lead back. LeGarrette Blount's getting those goal line touches, scoring those touchdowns. But Kerryon Johnson playing very well for the Lions as of late. And the Lions get the win on the road, 32-21. Next, the Vikings, pretty much how you'd expect it would go. The Vikings, they really beat up on the Jets when all was said and done. 37-17 was the final. Kirk Cousins, he only threw for 241. He had 2 touchdowns. Thielen, another 100-yard game. That's 7 in a row to start the season. He's on pace to set all-time records right now. Adam Thielen, looking for that big-time contract. you could say. But the Vikings take care of the Jets pretty easily. 37-17 was the final. The Vikings are now 4-2-1. The Jets are now a game under 500 at 3-4. The next one was crazy because the Eagles were up 17-0 going into the fourth, and the Panthers scored 21 unanswered points in that fourth quarter to pull out the win. Wentz, he threw for 310 and 2 touchdowns. It was a weird game because it looked like the Eagles, they had control the whole time, and then all of a sudden the Panthers in the fourth quarter, and there you go. It was 21-17. Eagles had a chance at the end, failed a fourth down conversion, and obviously lost the game, 21-17. But the Panthers go to the defending Super Bowl champions, beat them in their home building, and proved to 4-2. The Eagles are now 3-4. The next one, I thought the Browns would get it done on the road in Tampa, but Tampa kicked a 59-yard game-winning field goal to end up winning that game in overtime. 26-23 was the final score. Winston, he threw for 365, but he had 2 interceptions. Mike Evans, over 100 again. Nick Chubb, he is going to be the lead back for Cleveland, obviously, after that trade, after they traded away. Sorry, I just completely lost his name all of a sudden. Carlos Hyde. But Nick Chubb, he will be the lead back for Cleveland, it looks like, from here on out. But Cleveland, they fall to 2-4-1, and the Bucs are now 3-3, back to 500. Seemed like they might have got their act together a little bit now that with Jameis Winston now. So we'll just see how the season goes for them from here on out. But they get the job done in overtime at home, 26-23 over the Browns. The next one, the Jaguars are falling apart right now. The Texans, they went to Jacksonville and get the job done 20-7. Neither team really played very well offensively. Blake Bortles was benched for Cody Kessler in this game. Lamar Miller had a good game for the Texans. He had 100 yards and a touchdown. But the Texans, they rode a 13-0 lead into the second half, scored a touchdown in the third. The Jags did as well, but that would be the only points the Jags scored. 20-7 was the final, and the Texans somehow are now leading the AFC South Division. They were 0-3, and now they're at 4-3. The quietest 4-game win streak I've ever heard of. But the Texans, they got the job done. They are now 4-3. The Jags and Titans are now 3-4, game back of the Texans. Although Tennessee owns the tiebreaker over those two teams, but the Texans now lead the AFC South. It's shocking to me. But they beat the Jags 20-7. The next one was the game I considered the game of the weekend. Although I did pick the Ravens to win. The Saints got the job done by 1 point, 24-23, all because one of the most efficient kickers in the game in NFL in history, one of Justin Tucker, he missed an extra point that would have tied the game at 24. Absolutely shocking for that to happen to him. But it was a hard-fought game. 24-23 was the final score for the Saints. The Ravens are still a good team, obviously. The Saints are 5-1 now. The Ravens are 4-3. Flacco, he had 279, 2 touchdowns. Kamara, he got a touchdown on the board as well. John Brown had a huge day for Baltimore, 134 yards and a touchdown. But Justin Tucker misses an extra point. And that's how the Ravens ultimately lost to the Saints, 24-23. The Rams did Ram things. They just beat the crap out of the 49ers. 39-10 was the final. The defense went off for the Rams. Jared Goff, he had 2 touchdowns. George Kittle had been a nice surprise for the 49ers, especially after they lost their franchise quarterback. But the Rams improved to 7-0 with no issues whatsoever. The 49ers are now 1-6. And the Rams did that, like I said, very easily, 39-10 over the 49ers. The Rams beat the 49ers. The next one, you can call this one snap infraction, I guess. The Redskins and Cowboys played Sunday afternoon, and the Redskins won 20-17. It was tied at 7 at the half, and then the Redskins, they scored 3 in the third to the Cowboys 0. Both teams scored 10 in the fourth. But end of the game, they called a snap infraction on the Cowboys on a 45-yard field goal, or 47-yard field goal. And those 5 yards meant everything because the field goal hit the upright. The Cowboys kicked it, and it hit the upright. Had that been 5 yards closer, it would have went in. It's just just crazy. But the Cowboys, they made big news yesterday. They made the trade for Amari Cooper, so now they have a receiver that people can name. They have somebody that people can actually name as a receiver for the Cowboys now. So the Cowboys, they gave up a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. They're hoping that will help jumpstart that offense, help Dak Prescott out, help Ezekiel Elliott out. But the Cowboys, they fall to the Redskins 20-17. The Redskins now lead that division at 4-2. The Cowboys are 3-4, and the Eagles are 3-4 as well. The Sunday night game was a complete blowout. I thought the Bengals could possibly keep pace with the scoring in this game, but they got shut down by statistically the worst defense in football so far this season. It just was a runaway. The Chiefs, Mahomes 358 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt had 86 yards on 15 carries and a touchdown. Adrian Green had a good game for the Bengals. That's about all you can say. The Chiefs, though, they improved to 6-1. The Bengals are now 4-3, much like the Ravens. And the final score there for the Chiefs was 45-10 over the Bengals on Sunday night. Then last night we had the Giants and Falcons on Monday Night Football. Way low scoring. I thought this game was going to be higher scoring, specifically for the Falcons. They had 10 in the second and 13 in the fourth. The Giants kicked a couple field goals in the second and third, and they scored 14 points in the fourth, but it just wasn't enough. The Falcons got the job done 23-20, my bad, excuse me. Sterling Shepard had a lot of yards, had a good game. OBJ had a good game. Eli Manning had a good game, but the Falcons just pulled it out. The Giants, it just looks like they're meant to lose. That's just what it looks like at this point. They're 1-6 now. The Falcons are 3-4. They're working their way back. But that was the Monday night game last night. Julio Jones, another 100-yard game with no touchdown. He's got over 800 yards receiving, but 0 touchdowns on the season. So still frustration there for Julio. But the Falcons, with all that aside, they still won the game 23-20 on Monday Night Football. Your 4 bye weeks this week were the Packers, Raiders, Steelers, and Seahawks. The Raiders weren't quiet, though. Like I said, they traded Amari Cooper for a first-round draft pick to the Cowboys yesterday on Monday. But that is it. That is all the games for Week 7 of the NFL schedule. Obviously, on Thursday, I'll do my picks and discuss how well I did in Week 7, but I'll do my picks for Week 8 as well. Obviously, Friday is college football picks. Tomorrow on Wednesday, not sure what I'm going to do yet. We'll just see what happens out there with sports, and then I'll decide what I want to talk about. But if you enjoyed this video, leave a big thumbs up, like the video, share the content, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. But this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.